for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American.
Patriots, this is Eddie Smith, and you're tuned in to the Patriots Prayer Podcast. We got a packed episode for you tonight, but first, let's dive into what is really at stake with the Donald Trump trial. Folks, we're talking about the very trust in our justice system. If they convict Trump based on what we know, this nation will erupt like a powder keg, like a volcano. But the worst part is it will cause irreparable damage to the trust that we, the people, have in our government. A conviction in jail, a jailing of Donald Trump could destroy our very republic and could be the catalyst that sparks unrest like we've never seen in modern times. And who will be trusted enough to stop it? That trust will have been lost and destroyed the moment that they convict Donald Trump. And that's not all. We have new video footage coming out of Las Vegas. I kid you not. We have an expert stepping forward to say that there are entities found in the footage in the backyard, 8 to 9 foot entities that are captured on film, albeit cloaked. He uses a little fancy photography to show them to you. We're going to show you that a little bit later. And let's not forget the latest outrage from Robert De Niro bad-mouthing Trump and standing out in front of, in New York with these traitors, Harry Dunn and Michael Fanone, who played into the left's narrative of January 6th. We're fighting for our nation's survival. And some may say this election is no different from any other, but let me tell you, we've never seen a country more divided and moral compass more off the mark. We've never seen your children targeted, indoctrinated like this. We've never been invaded to the degree that we have at our southern border. This election is the reason that America will either stand and make a comeback or fall and become a nation ruled by left-wing socialists and Marxist ideology. We all need to understand that our nation's very soul is at stake. So now I welcome my one and only co-host here, Maurice, aka the Native Patriot, and welcome, guys, to the Patriots Prayer Podcast. There it is, brother. What's up?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Tired.
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 I was kind of feeling that way earlier today, but I feel like I feel like I got rejuvenated. I made a post on Twitter about I guess feeling constrained and just cut for time and struggling with the finding a balance. Whoa. Is my camera okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
But struggling to find a balance of work, of my daily job, the podcast, Twitter itself, and being a good husband and father. It runs 16 hours, or I run 16 hours a day or so, working from 4:30 in the morning until, we sometimes, I guess on Monday, we closed out the podcast at like 8 o'clock. So yeah, it's long days every single day, but I feel rejuvenated. I talked to a lot of Patriots today and it felt good. So I'm in a good mood. I know that there's a lot going on with Trump. I like your intro. As always, you kind of explain it really, really well. So, we got a lot of things going on in the country and a lot to talk about. How you doing, Eddie?
Well, the other night we had on Joel. I think we talked about it a little bit. It's very hard to be mean to someone who's being respectful.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it straight. The guy was very respectful. I look back on the show and I regretted not saying certain things at points in the show. But I also fell back on the fact that the Bible says don't cast your pearls before swine. I don't think I was swaying anybody. I don't think anybody was swaying him. I think that he was so indoctrinated with the that whole libertarian to the nth degree mindset that he couldn't just see not voting for Trump or not voting period was really a vote for Biden. And that's the sad part, not being able to see it, because that's a very cult-like mentality. That's really what it is.
Is this on my end?
Yeah,
it's a pre-show thing.
Yeah,
Before I put my nice shirt on. All right, hang on. Let me leave. I'll be right back. I'm
be right back.
I'm gonna fix this.
I'm gonna play this clip real quick, everybody.
Okay.
So before I even do, I'm gonna preface it a bit. I was looking for the De Niro clip online to show him talking about Trump, right? And when I was looking, someone is just masterful with AI. They were completely masterful. And I found this. I love this.
I'm speaking to you today because I'm a scared little man, a washed-up actor with lots of skeletons in my closet. People like me need Joe Biden in power, not because he's any good, but because he enjoys the same sick perversions we do. Lots of dipshits think I'm smart because, I used to be able to memorize lines, but cock my head to the side and squint with a New York accent. In reality, I'm just a mook. M-O-O-K mook. I'll be honest, Donald Trump scares the living shit out of me. I've always been jealous of him. He's a real man and true New Yorker. He walked the walk, talked the talk, and like Sinatra, he did it his way. I, on the other hand, only pretend to be tough and powerful on a movie set. If Donald Trump was in front of me right now, I'd punch myself right in the face, get down on my hands and knees, and beg to blow him. If Trump gets reelected, sickos like me will be permanently banned from the circle of trust. I'll be stopped pumping blue milk from Mark Hamill's tits in a gay porn parody of Meet the Parrots. I'm begging you, vote for Joe Biden so I don't shrivel up and die.
Wow.
I don't know who created that, but I love it. I absolutely loved it. I was looking for the actual clip, which I have too. But I saw that and that had to be played. They have another one. Somebody did a parody of Richmond, North of Richmond by Oliver Anthony. Oh, that's just.
Oh, I've seen that. Is it a dude in a dress like on a beach, on like a rocky beach? That one's gold.
That is hilarious, dude. I watched it like 10 times. I offended somebody at work by showing it to somebody else in earshot of them. It's good when you offend somebody. But
yeah.
So listen, Trump's in court today. The judge has the opportunity to allow the jury to deliberate. Yet he stretches it out one more day and dismisses them. Right. So, I mean, I really don't understand what people don't get about this. If they put Trump in cuffs, just like I said in the intro, this country will go up like a powder keg had a baby with a nuclear bomb and was dropped inside of a volcano. It will not be anything like anyone remembers from the BLM riots, what they call the Summer of Love, which is the stupidest damn nickname ever for what actually happened. But, yeah, I mean, listen, and if they do lock him up, that's what they plan to do the whole time. What you're going to be seeing play out in front of your eyes is a deep state, takeover of the United States. At that point, will you actually believe? Well,
that's already happened.
But at that point, once they cross the Rubicon, once they put cuffs on him, will you at that? We're right now, we're all pretending and hoping and living in denial that we have the republic that we were intended to have. A lot of us are. And those of us who pulled the curtain back, far enough for us to peek behind it and see what was really going on, we have become very jaded with the reality that is we live in a police state. We live in a place where the FBI stages evidence against a former president, where the DNC with Hillary Clinton get together and pay millions of dollars to a foreign spy to create evidence to overthrow a sitting president. And the FBI then uses that fake evidence to get FISA warrants, even after they knew the evidence was questionable. We live in that world, actually, but a lot of people don't realize it. The moment they put him in handcuffs, the show's over. Like the glasses come off. I mean, it's done. There's no more hiding who you are. You are Stalin. You are Mao. You are Lenin. You are all of the people that you claim to be fighting against. Your democracy. We're not even a democracy, but the Putin. Yeah, I mean it's literally what we have here. We have Joe Putin, as president.
Yeah, it sure feels that way because there's been a lot of things going on that people have been unaware of for a long time, right? The entire JFK assassination was questionable, right? Martin Luther King Jr., same thing. I mean, these things have been going on for a long time. You look at Gulf of Tonkin, it's like our government hasn't been able, like, we shouldn't trust our government at all.
Bay of Pigs.
Because,
the list it's a big list. You're right.
They run in secrecy and they're doing plenty of things behind the scenes. I mean, the fact that we even know about MK Ultra itself is a miracle because that was never supposed to be released. The American public was never supposed to know about MK Ultra. But as far as I know, it was like leftover files that weren't destroyed is the only reason we know about it.
Exactly right.
That was discovered. And so we don't even know to the extent that MK Ultra went. My theory is that they've continued that practice and SSRIs play a role in modern day MK Ultra. And so our government, like we should not trust our government, but what do we do about it? You know, that would be probably the most important question.
Yeah.
And one thing that people don't
it's one they don't want you to ask. It's one they don't want you to ask because then the conversation has to happen and they don't like that conversation. Even the hypothetical of that conversation, you'll be attacked, viewed through a certain lens of sedition. You're going to be one of those MAGA cult members, deplorables that are going to go up into the hills and try to overthrow democracy, all being said by somebody who's overthrowing democracy. But yeah, I mean, ask it.
I mean, I see a meme floating around and I enjoy it, but I don't think it's realistic. Well, I'm not sure. It's the meme that it's of George Washington and it says, you know, our founding fathers would have been stacking bodies by now. And
I don't even think we got to go back that far.
Well, the reason I disagree with that is because the way that the revolution happened, I actually had a lengthy conversation over the phone with one of my followers today. And we talked a little bit about the revolution and the founding fathers and things like that. Mm-hmm. And for most of the time, the founding fathers were building support for their movement. It wasn't like a lot of the Americans at the time saw themselves as Americans that they need to pull away from the king. They saw themselves as Brits, right? And what we're doing right now is trying to spread awareness of just how corrupt our system is. And I think a lot of people woke up in 2020 when they ran their experiments in how submissive people would be for lockdowns if you injected enough fear into the populace. I think that woke a lot of people up, but it also radicalized a lot of the sheeple, for lack of a better term. It radicalized them in parroting the state and believing that Trump is the evil one, and that if only we didn't have Trump, then we wouldn't be having any turmoil, which is the weirdest thing. Like that Robert De Niro clip, one of the things he actually said is that if Trump gets into office, then he's going to, throw our country into turmoil. It's like we have been in turmoil for decades now. We've been in never-ending wars. We've been in the Middle East since the 90s, and
way before the 90s. We've been in the Middle East since the 50s. We chased the Shah out of Iran. We were doing this to other countries long before we did it to us. Because that's really what you're looking at. You're looking at a psyop, and it's being performed on our own people. Like you said, they're telling everyone that Trump is if Trump wouldn't have got in office, we wouldn't have known. Imagine you having cancer, right? But you just don't know because you never went to get the scan, right? That's how I see Trump. Trump is just the guy who brought the cancer to light. We already had it. It was already here. We just didn't know. We didn't know to the extent. We didn't know until he started calling out the fake media and the fake news and shining a light on the corruption that was inside, the people that we thought were good guys. The FBI, for instance, we thought were good guys. I mean, we looked up to our FBI. We thought they were in it for a penny, in for a pound for the country. And now we have a guy that leads the FBI that was previously employed by the CCP or the PRC, whichever way you choose to call them, China. And he was making over $9 million a year. He put his own clients in jail after he became the acting director of the FBI. And Miles Gao is the guy I'm talking about. And a lot of people know this story. And the guy was falsely accused of fraud, put in prison, and never given an arraignment date for God knows how long. But the unethical part is that the guy who did it to him was the guy who defended him, who was his attorney, and that was Christopher Wray, the same guy who lied to Congress and didn't obey a subpoena. And yet our chicken shit Republicans, we threaten with contempt of court and all the contempt of Congress. And we just seen Homeland Security, Merrick Garland, basically tell them, I'm not giving you the audio recording of the Robert Hur special counsel interview with Biden. You guys don't need to see it. When did the FBI, when did Homeland Security, when did any of these people get the ability to tell Congress, no, you don't need to see it? It's Congress. Are you kidding me? But we're playing by different rules now, man. It's not the same.
Yeah, they're kind of just doing whatever they want. And that's the thing with this Trump trial, which is really interesting. The way that the judge gave the jury instruction. He basically came out and said, you don't actually have to agree on what crime was committed. You just have to believe that he committed some crime, which is the exact opposite of how our justice system is supposed to work. We are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I got like a little piece of hair in my mouth that keeps popping out. But we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And
the burden of proof is on the state.
Yes, yes, and it's supposed to be beyond a reasonable doubt of a particular crime, not some nebulous idea that they may have conveyed in the court that some crime was committed. I mean, this jury could be split three ways and on what crime was committed, and he would still be found guilty because of the way that they're rigging the trial and the system. It's ridiculous, and it's a mockery of the American justice system. And I hope that this wakes a lot of people up. Like I was saying earlier, the founding fathers, they were rallying support for years. And I mean, after physical conflict started, we didn't declare independence until basically a year after the conflict had already started because most Americans weren't behind it. Well, you know, what we need to be doing right now is garnering support. You know, I see a lot in the chat about, you know, civil war. Like that's the only thing that's going to stop this. And it's like, well, maybe. I don't want to advocate for that because once war starts, you cannot control it and you don't know where it goes. The best thing that we can do is to get everybody, or at least the overwhelming majority of people, to say no, that their authority is null and void. But I mean, that brings a different set of problems, but at least it's not war.
You know, there is one way that typically works, especially in a capitalist society. One stacked on a house of cards, one where we're overtaxed and overburdened by the state to pay for other countries' means to live. And that's just simply opting out. If we as a country just said, you know what, to hell with your taxes, and you go to your payroll department and you say, stop withholding federal taxes. If everyone on the right did that, they'd wake up.
Yeah.
They'd wake up and they'd wake up in a hurry, in a big hurry. People, we fought a war. I've talked about this before, over a 2% tax on tea. We're taxed when we get paid. We're taxed when we spend our money. We're taxed on homes that we already buy forever without ceasing. Once you've even paid for it directly, you're taxed on your car yearly to re-register it over and over again. Any other vehicle that you have, you're taxed when you die. You're taxed on money you were already taxed on when you invested. If you make money while investing, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I used to say, I would never live in Canada. They're taxed to death. And yeah, but they're taxed in one lump sum. I get it. 55% of their income. And yes, they are a very socialist society. But what I don't want to do anymore is pretend that our tax system is not just as progressive. It's just done incrementally over a million different taxes instead of all at once. it's ridiculous that we get taxed as much as we do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I pulled my check out and I got 30% taken out initially from federal taxes, and then I'm like, all right, well, I need fuel to get home, so there's $1.10 tax per gallon so that's like a 25% tax basically right now, a 25% tax in Washington State on fuel, and then I mean it varies. Like when Trump was in office and it was $1.89, the tax was a little bit lower, but I mean, there's an insane amount of taxes because in Washington State, you got a 10% grocery tax. And I mean, like a 22% liquor tax, and they tax you by the liter. So I'm definitely sick of taxes, especially when, I'm the only one in my family, in my household, who works for money, right?
And that's the thing. That's the biggest problem right there. They destroyed the family when they did this because, a lot of people can't afford to have the wife home. Just can't do it. It takes two incomes. And as a result, we end up with mom and dad stressed out after a long day of work. The person that would usually be at home taking care of those things. And God, I hope there's none of those just over the top feminists that think that is degrading. That is appreciated by the husband, by the children. There is the harmony that takes place when everybody plays the role there, in that family situation. If you choose to do that. Now, if you don't, and you're a career-minded person and you both are, and that's what you do, it's fine. Go do it. But when the kids are left to be raised by the system, meaning childcare, daycare, and that sort of thing, I think that leaves a hole. I think this is a big reason why the family structure, a family unit, is not as close as they once were, say in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And in the 70s the 60s were the beginning of the downfall. In the 70s, it just kept progressively getting worse. The more we started talking about, and I'm just going to say it, the more we started talking about equality and all this, the worse it became, because it wasn't truly equality they were after. It was to break up the family. That's what it was from the very beginning. This communist socialist takeover, this Marxist uprising is not brand new. We were locking up people in Hollywood in the 60s and 70s that were perpetrating this scheme back then, except for we called it what it was back then: criminal, seditionist, and we put them in prison. Now we elect them.
That's a good point. Yeah, the 1962 decision by the Supreme Court to remove God from all government, I guess, institutions, including schools. That was a huge mistake because that also removed it from marriage as well. Now you can still get married and go to a church and make a covenant with God, but the thing is that most people nowadays don't do that, and so they lowered the value of marriage when they took God out of it. Because and I mean in the 1980s when they enacted no fault divorce, I mean that really damaged it because it incentivized. Oh, absolutely. You couple that with the feminist movement, and then you have, like, I was watching some 90s or maybe early 2000s show. I can't remember what it was, but it was I feel like it was a typical show growing up where, like, the single dad. Oh, it was Mrs. Doubtfire, right? And they just depicted the dad as like this useless piece of crap, and where the mom had all the power. Like, it didn't really explain what happened and why they got divorced, but he, like, just wanted to see his kids. But they showed him, like, he was trying to cook, and he
had to earn it. He didn't just get it by right of being dad. He had to earn it.
And that was very, very popular in the 90s. And I know that, I mean, I have family that thought that way, and they went through the divorce courts, and, like, I don't want to be a hypocrite saying this because I went through a divorce, right? So I married my high school. Okay.
So did I.
I dated my high school sweetheart for years, and then we got pregnant out of wedlock. We weren't even living together. So I proposed to her. We got married, and 8 months later we separated. Once we lived together, we kind of realized that we were two separate. Like, we wanted very different things. She wanted the city life and the apartment life. Like, she's not a bad person, but she wanted very, very different things, like radically different from my life and what I saw as my goals. So we are still on good terms. We share custody with our first son, and I mean it's week to week. So every Tuesday to Tuesday, I get full custody of him. And but the thing is like when I went through the divorce, I didn't hire a lawyer. Like she hired a lawyer, and the lawyer was a jackass. I'll tell you that much. But I refused to, and maybe I got lucky because she's not a malevolent evil witch like a lot of divorcee women can be. But I basically told her that I'm not going to talk to my lawyer, who's going to talk to your lawyer, and they're going to do their BS lawyer crap negotiating on our behalf. I said, I want to talk to you because you're the person that I'm going to be working with until my son's 18. I mean, we're going to have to work this out one way or another. And I don't want the courts to decide. I want it to be a decision between you and me. And that worked out best. And then I met I met my wife, and things have been great ever since. And now we have a kid, and Bo loves being an older brother. And I mean, life is really, really good. And I plan on being with Ash for the rest of my life because yeah, I mean, she drastically changed my life for the better. And once I realized that, you know, we can actually be a team and grow. And I mean, I just got really lucky with her, but
that's the thing though. You did it right. You wanted to make sure your values aligned. Now,
yeah,
my situation was a little different. I've been with my wife since I was 15 years old. Right. So to put that in perspective, I'm 47 almost, right? I'm getting ready to turn 47. So we've been together for a long time. When you grow up alongside of somebody and you grow, and sometimes you change and they change into a different person than you are. I was more biblical, church-driven, activist type. I cared more about what was right than I cared about people's feelings. I didn't care too much about getting along with the crowd or doing, and I still don't at all, zero. And Michelle was all of those things. And so it just eroded over time. And eventually we split. And it was extremely hard to deal with at first because I had been with her for most of my life. And then it was one day I was just sitting there. I was in my apartment and I was like, I had nobody to argue with. I had no one to clean up after. I have nowhere to be, no one to tell me what. All of a sudden, this new found oh shit, I'm free. It just kicked in, dude, and I was extremely happy, extremely peaceful. I went right back into routines that I did. I did my laundry a certain way, my bedspreads a certain day. I cleaned at a certain time. My stuff was straight. If you walked into my house, I had my jeans folded, the hangers a specific way. I mean, I am that person left to my own devices. Oscar Madison, right? If you know who that is, The Odd Couple. I'd be like the clean one. So I mean, that's who I was. And then when we started talking again and trying to work those things out, it had to be that she had come to the realization of who I was, and could she be with someone who was the way I was, because I wasn't going to change. And so we decided to date for a while, and eventually, and I knew this from the start, but I knew we were going to get back together. And because I had a vow and a promise to keep, neither one of us had cheated on either the other or anything like that. So I didn't have any of those type of basis that I could use to stay divorced. And at the end of the day, we got back together. We had a big, beautiful wedding where we wrote the ceremony out, and we had, I don't know, it was like 500 people in a place that cost me damn near $35,000. It was crazy, but it was the wedding she always wanted, and it was a great time. And I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And now I look at the time that we spent apart as a blessing, because it helped me figure out who I was. And
that's a really good point, because after I divorced my high school sweetheart, I realized that I have to be more assertive as a person and stand up for what I believe in. So that really helped shape me into the person that I am now, because back then I was a people pleaser. You know, didn't assert my opinions. I didn't lead the household. You know, the Bible says that you're not supposed to be, the male isn't supposed to be the leader of his house. He's supposed to be the leader of his spouse. And so I learned at that time that I have to change who I am. Like, not, I have to change my actions and how I portray myself. And that actually led me to my beliefs today, to the point where I'm able to stand up against tyranny, because I realized that everything will collapse if you never say anything. If you just let it fester and you build up that resentment in your heart, then it's not going to work out well for anybody by not asserting yourself. And so you have to do that. And I treat kind of everything that way now. Hey, I wanted to give a shout out really quick to Bill and Marcus. Said, same here. I was 16 and she was 14, and now I'm 64. That is a long time to be together with someone. So congratulations on that. And I'll tell you what, one of my personal goals is to celebrate a 50th anniversary with my wife. That's a lifelong goal. It's on my bucket list, so I got to make it to there at least. So, and so does my wife. So, but congratulations on that. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. It's a great example to set for your kids, if you have any. It's a great example to set for your neighbors and anybody who comes in contact with you. I mean, that is a very beautiful thing in a time where temptation is, I mean, rampant.
60% or plus of marriages end in divorce. And it's I had somebody at work tap me the other day and tell me, you know, that he got divorced, and I hadn't been over to that office in a while. And I remember last year him telling me how perfect his wife was for him, how they both did, you know, rode dirt bikes together and did these crazy things together. I'm like, man, you got a diamond in the rough. If you found a woman at your age that likes to jump ramps on dirt bikes, and you got the girl. And then he told me, you know, why they split. And I'm just like, man, this is no one's immune to it. No one is immune. So make sure your values line up, man. Make sure you guys have the same set of beliefs. That way you guys are governed by the same book, by the same God, by the same everything. Because if you're not, and it's just that you like the way someone looks or sounds, that's going to fade. I'm telling you right now, that is going to fade so quick. And all that you're going to be left with is this annoying person that you do not want to be around or hear speak. It's going to be like nails on a chalkboard, and all the looks and anything else is just going to fade completely away. Now,
your soulmate is built, not found.
Yeah. And part of the, you know, people ask, you know, what the secret is for being together for a long period of time. And now having done that, left and came back and continue it, I guess it's communication and tenacity.
Communication,
you just don't leave, no matter what. You just don't do it. That's just it. You just don't. There's no secret sauce to it. You just don't do it.
You don't joke about it. You don't.
Yeah, don't bring it up in arguments, even if you're mad. You don't just say, I want a divorce, because you're just mad and you want to hurt the other person versus talk about what the problem is. You just don't do those things. And because after a while, you do become numb to it. And what comes out of your mouth constantly is what you're building in your spirit. So you may not mean it now. 5 years from now, if you keep saying it, you may mean it. Yeah. So make sure you're careful what you say. I don't know if I've even talked about this online, but you know, to this degree, I've mentioned that Michelle had a reaction to the shot. It ended up with her being deaf in her right ear. But we also found out just recently that she has masses that are growing inside on her organs. That one of them is the size of a damn lemon. Now they can tell based on the size that it happened around the same time as when she lost her hearing. So they're fairly certain it was due to the vaccine. So we just went the other day, and she had the biopsy just yesterday. So we have to wait for a week now to figure out, what the next step is. I got to tell you, it's a scary time. So, guys, I would ask that you keep my wife in your prayers, keep my family in your prayers, because we're, in all honesty, we're just not really sure what the next step is. We don't know. So just keep us in your prayers for the time being, and I'll keep you up to date on that. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Well, I definitely got you in my prayers over here. I know we've talked about this a bit offline, and I mean, going public with something like this is it is difficult, and prayers out for you guys, and you guys in the chat. Just put Eddie's wife in your prayers tonight, and pray for their family, and that they can have a 50th anniversary as well.
Yeah.
It's not a death sentence or anything like that, but cancer is a scary thing to go through, and hopefully the test results come back benign. That's what I'm praying for.
If it's benign, she will still have to have hysterectomy in order to remove the masses entirely. So there's still some risk involved with it, but man, I go back, and I think to myself, I remember the day she went in to go get that, and I walked all the way in to the Walgreens, all the way up to where the pharmacist was, where she got it, and I'm like, don't get this. I'm telling you, I was the whole way up. Do not do this. And
Look at this, Eddie. Look at these prayers coming in. It's beautiful.
I appreciate you guys, brother. I really do. Each and every one of you. You have no idea what that actually means, and that's why I brought it up, because I believe very strongly in the power of prayer. And if God hears it from me and hears it from you and everyone else too, I mean, there's some value in that, a lot of value in that. So yeah, I appreciate that very, very much. But you went through it at a younger age, the cancer scare and that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, I had a really aggressive type of thyroid cancer. I don't know if you guys can see. You can kind of see the scar, but I mean, that's what convinced me that I wanted to be a dad and a husband. I mean, that changed my entire perspective on life, and that was at 14 years old. I realized that, like, I could die from this, and I'm very, very young.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to be a husband. I want to be a father, and I want to have kids and raise them. Because I mean, up until then, up until 14 years old, you don't really think about that kind of stuff. And then you're hit in the face with, you have thyroid cancer, and it's actually the worst kind, and it's spreading throughout your body. So we have to do a surgery, tomorrow, and cancer treatment in 2 weeks after you recover from that. So that was a moment that kind of put my life in perspective and set new goals for me from then on out. And of course, as a kid, I kind of wavered back and forth and didn't always meet my expectations of what I actually wanted, and kind of chased chased women for a while. I was never really a big player or anything, but I always knew what I wanted. So, and that's why I had a high school sweetheart. But yeah, cancer's no joke, man. And I was lucky enough to get just thyroid cancer, so I didn't have to go through leukemia or anything like that. I just went through radiation treatment. I mean, it still sucked, but.
Are you talking about the chemo? Dude, I hope it doesn't come to anything like that. But whatever it is, we'll get through it. It's for sure. I mean, it's one of those things where I think the other day, dealing with some of the people that I won't say their names, who I'm talking about when I say this, but I kind of I was a little abrasive with some people that we're close to the other day, and we're really trying to do something here at the Patriots Prayer. This thing that we're doing, this podcast, it means a hell of a lot to me on many, many levels. And I fought for a long time to get it where it is, and then Maurice came along and it just supercharged it all over again. And now with the advent of this happening, and everything. I just want this to succeed so bad that I pour a lot into this. There are hours spent on this even before we ever, log in. And the other shows that I'm trying to develop as well, to create a Patriots Prayer family of podcasts from different perspectives, shared values, but different perspectives. Because the idea is that sooner or later, we're going to live in a world where our perspectives are not going to be welcomed. And if we have to depend on someone else for our money to feed our families and make a living, the chances are we're going to have a harder time doing it, especially being as public as we are. So I take that on. I pick up that challenge. So I mean, and when you deal with the stress of that and what happened with our friend, at the same time there was some back and forth that occurred with an agreement that I thought wasn't honored, and it just all came to a head. And I think that you just the stress got to me just a little bit too much at that time, and it came to a head. And I think, just in talking about this right now and the way when I was telling you about it, that's why I felt it was necessary to say it, because it was only in this moment right now that I realized why I might have been stressed up to react that way at that point.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing, man. I mean, people see a little bit of our activity on X, and then you come in and see the podcast, and it's like there's a ton of other things going on behind the scenes that it's impossible to convey. Like on X, I try to be virtually as transparent as I possibly can. I believe that's one of the ways to garner support, is to just, I'm going to be myself, and if you like me, then you like me, and if not, well, you can go pound sand.
Exactly.
But I'm glad that you shared that, because I believe in the power of prayer as well. And I know that we don't ask for this much, but if you guys did want to support financially, you can join our locals. We're trying to do more things over there, kind of behind the scenes. And we do have an event coming up, a big one. We're heading to Detroit. Yeah, it's huge. So we have an opportunity to meet Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy and
Matt Gaetz and Candace Owens and a
lot of big names.
A lot of big names. And I'll be honest with you, guys, it damn near broke the bank. I'm not kidding.
I know.
I just spent so much money on the camper and the quad and the truck and all this, and this happened on the heels of that. But you know what? We scraped it together, and I got the tickets, and it's a done deal. We're heading out, and thank God for the guys who come over to the shop and buy those t-shirts and hook us up, because that's the money we're going to be using while we're down there to eat and get around on. So, we really do appreciate the hell out of that. You have no idea. My buddy Charlie does a hell of a job with those shirts on the site.
We should link them. We should link them below the podcast. That way people.
Well, it's his shop. His shop is our shop. So when people go to the Patriots Prayer and you go into the Patriots shop, I essentially gave that store to someone to run. So he creates all the stuff in there. And I just said, hey man, it's half of whatever you sell in there is yours. You create it. I got a better deal than anything I could get buying from a drop shipper. So I was like, it's a fair deal. And he's done very well. Some of those, I love those tumblers. Did you see the design on the tumblers? The tumblers are awesome. The other one was the Tribe of Patriots shirt that here, let me pull it up. Some people may not have seen it. There's two of them because I have them in two different places.
Yeah, we kind of got a little sidetracked. I know we were talking a lot about Trump, but hey, I mean, as far as the things that you guys can control, I get a lot of people asking, like, how can we support? How can we help? Like, what can we do to help turn this country around? And I mean, it starts with taking care of yourself and your family. I mean, that's one of the most important things that you can possibly do, because right now what we're trying to do is basically garner support from you guys and build a network of patriots. That's why it's called the Tribe of Patriots. And because I personally believe that you don't have to be of a certain skin color or whatever to be a patriot. I mean, the idea of America is so far beyond just race or ethnicity or your past heritage or whatever it is. You can be part of our tribe and the Tribe of Patriots. If you love this country and if you want to fight for it, I actually ordered that shirt. I'm getting that. That's coming in. Should be here any day now. But
I like the shirt. I like the shirt. The shirt is cool. So guys, I'll put the links for all of these out there. And not only that, I don't even think we've ever walked anyone through the store ever, or even the site, because I redid the site not long ago. Let's put the patriots.com. Don't even know my own site name. That happens a lot these days. There. So right here, guys, we're going to be doing a newsletter. Matter of fact, Alexandra just gave me her submission last night, and we have thousands of people we're going to be sending this out to. So, come over to the site, check it out. The links are all here, really easy to use. Up at the top, you can even click here to listen to the podcast, all the audio versions if you're in the car or whatever. Here, we have all of our sponsors listed with each link and every discount code you can use to get anything from any of them. The Patriot Prayer Shop. So, I mean, we've done quite a bit of work on the site. It's coming along quite nicely, and there's just a ton more there. We got some news stories that we have over there, some pictures and things from previous podcasts, little excerpts that we put over there. As you see, me and Kyle Seraphin back in the day, we had Kyle on the Ben Davidson episode, which was great.
That was one of my favorite episodes. I actually want to have him back on again because, I mean, I just love talking to him. He's a cool guy. He's a really, really smart guy. And I mean, if you guys haven't seen that episode, I suggest it. It's really good. His name is Ben Davidson. So and also, I mean, if I were to recommend specific episodes from the past, Ivan Raikland, that Kyle Seraphin episode was crazy. The episode I did with Nate Kane and David Baumblatt, both FBI whistleblowers, they were discussing some wild stuff on the podcast, and it was recorded. This was before I did it live. And it was so crazy, some of the stuff they were saying after the podcast was over. I said, guys, do you want me to actually release this? Like, is it okay? Because that's how wild it was, some of the things that they were talking about. It's pretty wild. I mean, the last guy I didn't get to interview yet was Garrett O'Boyle. Now, I asked Kyle to hook me up. Garrett O'Boyle. So if you remember, there are 3 FBI whistleblowers. They all testified in front of Congress. The third one, I talked to the other ones. The third one is Garrett O'Boyle, and he's the only one that I've yet to interview. I've interviewed every other one. So he's the last one. He's the holdout. So tag Garrett O'Boyle and let him know we want to interview him. But 60 mark. Oh wait, I thought that was marriage. Oh. Hey, age is earned, man. Or it. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting older. Not because I want to skip past what's going on right now, but I believe that you earn your age, and not everybody gets to experience it. I think that life is precious, and every year you spend on this earth is a beautiful thing. So the older I get, the more grateful I am that I'm still here. Yeah, for sure. There've been a couple of times I was brought back here after I left, so I'm very grateful for being here. I'm going to go to take a quick break for our sponsors. When I come back, I want to play a few of the clips that I downloaded and just get everybody. Are we going to talk about the aliens? Yes. Yeah. Aliens. Cool. So we'll be right back.
Born in the coastal plains of South Texas, Smoking Gun Coffee is founded by combat veterans that know exactly what a cup of coffee needs to taste like. Run by father and son, each coffee bean is perfected roasted at 500 degrees, and cooled with a Gulf Coast breeze. Smoking Gun Coffee hand makes and bags each ounce of coffee for maximum customer satisfaction. With every purchase, 10% goes back to organizations that help veterans and local communities. That's Texas made, one bag at a time. To find out more, go to www.smokingguncoffee.com.
So, as I said in the offset of the program, I'm gonna kind of remind everybody about this story. So everyone saw it. It was a couple of months back here in Las Vegas. We saw a thing flying through the sky. It was going end over end. Everyone that was out saw it. It was impossible to be in Vegas and not see this thing. It was like a blue streak flying through the air and over the entire Las Vegas, and it hit on the other side of town, over in the other portion of Las Vegas. Now, the kid whose yard that is said to have hit near, right? Because they said it was an asteroid or something that hit, and but the kid maintained that it was something in his yard about 8 to 9 feet tall. And then it got laughed off, and the mainstream media kind of went after the kid, and then they just disappeared completely. Now, that story is back in the spotlight, and Fox News found a clip. Well, Fox News found a clip of another podcast, and I'd love to give them credit, but I really don't know the name of the podcast. But I'm going to play the clip for you. You're going to see they have a videographer expert on there who does something to the video, and he says that if you look, it is inexplicable that there are 2 or 3 entities that are cloaked, but that are in the frame, even one standing right next to the people in the yard. Take a look at this.
Show the medic principles that I would apply to any kind of a homicide investigation, right?
Yes.
And you have to look at the totality of the evidence. And you're going to have debunkers that'll be like, well, but the shadow, it could be this, that, or the other. No, it cannot. And I want to open this up. Everything that we've done, I'm opening it up for peer review. Okay. Anybody out there with a degree in photography, anybody out there who's a qualified expert witness in video analysis like I am, anybody out there with a master's degree or higher in education in video analysis, video editing, photography, film development, computer animation, and so on and so forth, bring it on. Look at what I've put on my YouTube channel. Look at what Jim and I are going to talk about today. And I'm willing to hear what professionals in my field have to say about this and open it up. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But I think that the evidence at this particular time with what we've seen here is proof, couple things, that these entities, both in the background and in the foreground behind the fence, are real. They're there. This is not fake. This is not a fraud. I guarantee it. 100%. These 2 items, these 2 beings are in the real world environment with the Kenmore family. That's a fact. It's an absolute fact. That is there, and the one in the background is there. 100%, beyond any reasonable doubt, these beings are there. Now, the question is, who are they? Where are they from, and what do they want? That's where the conversation goes after this presentation, Jim. The reality is confirmed. They're there. These people have experienced an extraterrestrial reality, interdimensional, whatever term you want to put on it. But these are non-human intelligent beings.
So did you see the mist, the shadow just walk right up next to the people at the fence? And the one moving off in the distance. There was one right next to the people. I mean, close enough to touch them. And then there was the one in the distance. And the video analysis and on Fox and everyone, they found it, let's say, interesting enough to post on a mainstream news site.
Do you guys believe in aliens? Because I know that over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of stuff being released, and there's been a lot of weird stories about aliens in general. But it's still tough to say that the aliens would be coming from outer space, right? The most recent popular theory is that they, it's like the
Ocean.
hollow earth theory, and they live in the ocean or various points in sites around the world that is basically blocked off to the public access. I mean, there's parts of the Grand Canyon that are completely blocked off militarily, and Alaska. I mean, many states around the country, and then Antarctica. There's a lot of questions about Antarctica. There's a lot of weird stuff that's going on down there, and just the fact that the world treaty that we've all kind of agreed upon that.
So I want to play. Go ahead. I'm going to mute it, but I want people to see the actual movement on the screen. Now, if you look on your right, there it is. You see it?
Yeah.
And so it's walked right up next to them.
Everything that we've done, I'm opening it up for peer review.
That's
what's
wild,
crazy is like you guys. I'm sure you guys remember this story, and it's like it was nothing ever really came of it. The family kind of disappeared, and then it just went away. But then this guy was looking into it, and he found some stuff. So it's really, really interesting, and I'm not sure if I'm excited about it or I just don't know how I feel.
It's just interesting. That's all I'll say about it. I don't believe in aliens. I believe in demons and angels and these types of things. Aliens from a faraway planet that come all the way here secretly. I mean, there's too many weird. It just doesn't make sense. But it's still interesting as hell. And Antarctica is always an interesting subject. Why is it that the whole world will fight each other in every war that we possibly can over land of all types and kinds and places, and yet the Antarctic Treaty, no one ever questions it. Never. There's never been in contentment ever. And the only way you can fly there is to go through Heathrow over in London. If you're going to puddle jump, you want to get to Antarctica, even though there are shorter ways to get there, you always have to go to Heathrow and fly out of there. It's wild, dude. There's some pretty interesting, let's say, conspiracy theories that go along with that topic.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't always have to just focus on politics. I know there's a lot of stuff happening, but I mean, today, the jury didn't come to a conclusion, so we don't know anything until tomorrow. Speculating, it sure seems like they're doing everything in their power to convict Trump, but I'm just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. So I actually got to block this person really quick. I got I don't know, some lady in the chat.
Is this Lola? What is it?
Yeah, she's like, who's this white man? And she's like trying to call you out for being white. So wow. I'm gonna kick this racist out.
Keep her out. Keep her. What's it say? She's just telling us who she is, dude. Let her.
Yeah.
Let her stay.
Yeah. All right. I guess.
I don't want to block you. We love haters. I can't find my liberal tears mug, or I would hold it up for you. But yeah, man, those people. It just let them be who they are and let everyone see it.
So listen here, Lala Rose. Okay, if you are part Native, which you claim to be, good for you. Nobody cares. And if you want to try to hold that over Eddie because he appears white, then that's a you problem. You're the racist. So you can go be racist somewhere else. I don't really care. I don't care that you're Native American. I don't care that, I hold nothing. There's no love between us if you're racist. If you don't like white people for the sake of them being white, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
That's not a me problem that I need to really worry about. So.
What is she saying she is? I'm Rosebud Nation, huh? Rosebud Nation.
Rosebud? I thought I saw Sue. So, but
yeah. I don't know.
Like I said, I don't really care. Good for you. You're Native American. You were born into it, just like I was. Okay, I can't control the fact that my skin is brown and that I have Native American heritage. I had zero control over that. And like you.
And the one thing I don't tout, and you know this, is my Native heritage. It's my dad's side of the family. my grandmother, grandfather, and father are 100% Native American.
Don't you
Right?
feel stupid now? A little judgy?
It's so, yeah, I mean, what a dumb thing to say. And it was just based on our visualization. See, mom's German and Irish, so I get the dark, the blonde hair and that sort of thing. But my sisters don't. My cousins don't. So I looked a little out of place growing up. So I never went around telling everybody I'm Native, or I never wrote it on any form to get, approved for a loan or a grant or whatever. I just went along earning my own way based off my merit. And I never really bothered me as much. I mean, obviously I have skin in the game when it comes to Native American culture. I think that we've went to bat pretty hard to fight for Native Americans and against the woke version of the Native American culture as well, to stand up for people like Holden Armenta and the name changes and the socialist and Marxist uprising that's taken.
And yeah, we're not done. We're not done defending Native American culture. So, I say this often, that I'm Native American with emphasis on American, because I believe that the idea of America is a very powerful thing that changed the world for the better, that all men are created equal. Okay. And after the 1964 Civil Rights Act and how the Native Americans fought for their independence in the 70s and 80s, even though they kind of did it in a weird way, we should be treating each other as equals, right? I grew up in the post and pre-racist America. And now, just because you're Native American doesn't mean I'm going to give any special leeway for you to be racist. If you're racist, I'm going to call you out on it. There's no need to be yelling at Eddie because he looks white. He wasn't. He didn't decide to be white, and it's not a bad thing. It's okay to be white.
What I mean, you figure you'd want allies in your corner, like the kind that would actually stand up and fight for you based on the fact that you are Native. You never asked me what my background was or what my culture was before just making that judgment call. That's terrible. Here. If you take a look here, what you're going to see is something that was remarkable that Maurice and I came up and did. I'm not saying the other name, but I'm doing that intentionally. But yes, what you're seeing there is Holden Armenta. Would you see on Newsmax defending the fact that the Cleveland Indians should have their name back? Who do you see that had Francis Sakalaxis, descendant on talking about that very subject? Who do you see on here defending the Native American culture, who are both members of the Native American Guardians Association? You really stepped in it, and you have no idea what you just. I mean, you really look stupid.
Yeah. So, like I said, good for you for being Native American. That's great. If you were on my side and you believe that you should have a bond with your fellow Americans just because they're fellow Americans, instead of coming in and saying that who's this white man? I don't see any Native American here. Like, that is racist. So you can say that you're not racist. Whatever.
Why would she even think that? I never, in the Patriots prayer, in the description of the podcast, nowhere in there do I say that I'm Native. Not nowhere. So I don't know where that came from. I don't know.
She also called us a grifter. I think she's just a hater. Just an angry woman.
I think you know who I think it is. I think it's lunatic. It's lunatic. Lunatic is out here using other screen names to jump in the chat. It's okay. The McGroin crew will get her.
And I mean, it's just really sad because I mean, you should at least hear what we're saying instead of just jumping in and calling everybody names. That's all on you. You can go ahead and do that. Everybody's going to look and see that, oh, wow, this person's clearly a racist and has no idea what we've been doing for Americans and Native Americans alike. So that's on you.
She says,
anyways,
look her up. So are you Googleable? Is that what I'm understanding? Have you done enough to show up on a search engine? Will that actually happen? If I Google you, Lala Rose 2012, you'll actually show up. And for what?
Oh,
What
the
am I
first.
Googling
Oh,
for?
okay. Well, the first thing on her page is about Gaza. So
Pro Gaza, pro Palestinian.
I believe so.
Oh yeah, you're one of those. Yeah, never mind. Never mind.
Well, I don't really know.
Yeah, but so are you the pro-Palestinian, Lala? Is that what I'm understanding?
I don't know. We don't need to go at her. She's got. Yeah, I don't know. It's unfortunate that she came in and wants us to direct attention towards her, but realistically,
Not the kind of attention you really want, though.
Yeah, I mentioned you because you decided to come at Eddie saying that he's a white man, and who is this white man, and you don't see a native. So yeah, I called you out for it, rightfully so. But I don't really, I'm not going to go at you 100% here because I kind of feel bad for your soul, and I'll pray for you because clearly you got a lot of hatred built up for no reason when you're defending people across the world, and then you come at us like we're the enemy. So that's on you.
Rich, you're exactly right. That does make you a Native American. You were born here. That's it right there. One people, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. And the problem is that when people stop thinking like that, we become very weak. And we're weak. People from the outside and our enemies can get a foothold and things happen at that stage of the game. So we can't let these separatists and racists and leftists and Marxists basically tear us down, and it's fine. But that's why I said essentially in the beginning, don't block her, because you're just putting up a big sign as to who they really are. Let people see that so that they know. There was no intention here to ask questions or inquire about who we are or what we stood for. The agreement was based solely off of the way someone looked. So that's she probably missed the whole Tribe of Patriots spiel that I did. That you can be that there's a lot of ways that you can join our tribe and believe that, or I believe that anybody in America can, as long as they believe in our country and believe in what we can do moving forward and are a patriot. That's why I appreciated Tony Henson's take in the Native American Guardians Association and giving us, membership. And because he recognized something. And I think that is that path, that way of looking at it and going at it is a completely, it's going to do it a lot of good, guys. The 7 nation, the 7 generation alliance thing is very real. There are things being worked out right now, and it means a combination of coming together with the Italians, Asians, Hispanics, Jews, whoever it is. Separately, our voices are very tiny, very small. Together, we're so loud that they can't help but hear us.
So the Native Americans Guardians Association, if you go to, I forgot their website name.
Guardians Education. Hold on one second.
Yeah,
I get it.
I think it's NAGA Education.
NAGA Education. That's it.
So NAGAeducation.org. You can look up and see everything on the Native Americans Guardians Association and their seven generations alliance, which we've merged with. And what we want to do as a podcast is help amplify the voices of all who join the alliance. Right. Yep. And so, like Eddie was discussing, this is going to be it's going to be a whole bunch of different groups that have experienced cancel culture and don't believe in this woke garbage. So as a tribe, the Tribe of Patriots and the 7 Generations Alliance are merging, and we're going to help create a tribe of patriots with all of these people, because we believe that there's more to America than what we've been told. because we've been told for the past couple decades that America's bad, America's racist, it's the worst place to live, blah blah blah, and we're countering that narrative now. We're going to end wokeness. We are going to cancel culture. Okay, we are going to celebrate our heritage. We're going to be able to laugh with one another when you go to a Halloween party and somebody's wearing a headdress. That'll be acceptable, and it should be acceptable because we all share cultures, right? America's supposed to be a melting pot. We're not supposed to be a multicultural society where everybody has just their own thing that they were born into, and that this is mine, and you're not allowed to use it or wear it or do anything with it because it's mine. No, it's not yours. No, because everything you have was inherited. You inherited your genetics. Everything about your past is inherited. Maybe be a little bit more grateful for it and share it with the community of America, because believe it or not, America is still the greatest country on God's green earth, and I'm going to fight for it until the day that I die. Right. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the next couple months, and I mean, just life in general, man. It's going to be good, regardless of any haters.
It's about 2 weeks out right now, and I'm really looking forward to getting FaceTime with Trump, Candace Owens, Matt Gaetz, Kash Patel, and whoever else. I mean, I'm fully looking forward to that. We both have special guest passes. We're both going to be backstage where they are. We're both got press passes. So what comes, and I'm going to be recording the entire damn time. And I brought 2 cell phones, and I'm making sure that I have plenty of battery power. I'm going to have all kinds of things on me to make sure that we have so much content when we walk out of that place that it's unreal. Yeah. And it's going to be amazing, dude. I can't wait.
That's why I'm excited Eddie's coming, because as you guys kind of maybe saw, that I went down to Texas for range day with Donna Operator and Brandon Herrera, and I met the Fat Electrician and JP Sears and Kyle Rittenhouse and all of these huge names. I got some pictures, 0 interviews. I'm terrible at that stuff. I have a bad habit. It's not a bad habit, but as far as like for marketing, I have a bad habit of just living in the moment and not really
terrible habit.
Yeah. Oh, and I should say, I should say that, I went down there and met up with the Lectern guy. If you guys want to give him a follow, like he helped me out tremendously. He's a really great guy. He promotes the same kind of things. He does a lot of charity work for January 6th, political prisoners and their families too, especially. So give him a follow. It's Lectern Leader on X. He's a solid guy. And like I said, he helped me out down in Texas a lot. We met up, hung out for a couple days. It was a lot of fun, and I recommend you give him a follow as well.
And those of you watching on X right now, do us the favor, please go give us a follow on Rumble, right? Because we really need to build that channel up. There's so much, and I'm just going to say it. It's true though. There's a lot more for video creators and content creators and podcasts. There are more benefits to having more users and viewers on Rumble than there is on X, at least for the time being, until they fix that. So until they fix that, we get more for what we're doing. If you go over and join the Rumble channel, and we would really appreciate it. So if you're not a member, if you haven't gone over and followed us there, please do so. And anywhere else too, YouTube, while we're there temporarily, most likely. And anywhere else we are, give us a follow.
We didn't get spicy tonight with the political talk, and it's like I said, it's mostly because we're at a downtime, right? This is the calm before the storm, and so everybody just kind of needs to prepare for the worst. And if they do, I mean, I would recommend that you guys. I guess it depends on where you live, but at least have a couple provisions for a temporary disruption in the supply chain or anything like that, because there can certainly be that with I guess particular riots and things like that. So just be prepared for a couple days at least.
Yeah, with that here. Let me do this real quick. So
military use when they need unlimited power during critical missions. Civilians like you can now get their hands on the exact same technology within 24 hours for pennies on the dollar. Folks, as a former infantry soldier, I can tell you this is the best and cheapest way to get reliable, unlimited energy. And no, I'm not talking about regular generators or the expensive solar panels. You don't have to be an electrician to do it. There's no maintenance needed. It doesn't take up a lot of space. And the best part, you won't need to rely on the power grid anymore. Click below now and hit play.
So if you go over to our site, you got the Feast, Famine, Devil's Dollar, and Operation Blackout. What they're doing is it's a book Teddy Daniels put out. You've seen Teddy Daniels. He was on Tucker Carlson. He's been all over the place. But it's basically a preparedness guide. Should shit actually hit the fan, this is going to tell you what you need to do, the things that you need to do to clean your water, to get power on without a generator, without any of those things. It's $65 book. Well, when you purchase it, they pay Maurice and I $100. So it's information they want to get out that bad, and that's true. So I mean, listen, you guys, it's an amazing book. There are MREs and rations they sell over there as well. Dry goods, things like that can help you. Should there not be a supermarket available to you around election time? Listen, it's real, folks. If things can go bad to the point where if we lose trust in our system, if they really go after him to the degree that we know that they're capable of, we have no idea what that looks like. We've never had that happen before. Look what happened with COVID. This would be so much worse. Much worse.
So just do your best to prepare. Visit the site. You can find it on the patriotsprayer.com and all that. So thank you guys. I want to give a shout out to McGroin Nation for joining the chat and I enjoy trying to read through it, as it's starting to really pop off. So it does get a little bit more difficult to read it, but I really enjoy reading it. So shout out to you guys. Leslie, thank you for being here as always. So thank you. God bless you.
T-Bear and Gil over on YouTube. Lighten that chat up as well. Thank you guys as well. A shout out to everybody on pill.net, X, everywhere else we are, even the crowd over on Facebook. Guys, we appreciate every single one of you that take the time out to spend this hour or something with Maurice and I. And as usual, the silent majority, you need to stop being silent and stand your ground. We'll see you next time on the Patriots Prayer Podcast, guys.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flag.